Okay. Good evening. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Wilmette Housing Commission. Ms. McManus, could you take the roll?
Sure. Commissioner Chase, I believe, is absent. Commissioner Goldstein.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Williams.
Here.
Commissioner McClure is absent. Commissioner Morganti.
Here.
Commissioner Shanahan.
Here.
And Chair Head.
Here.
Thank you.
This meeting is being conducted remotely via Microsoft Teams. For those watching this video in the future, the state of Illinois is currently under a stay-at-home order issued by Governor J.B. Pritzker due to the coronavirus pandemic. As a result, all in-person governmental meetings have been canceled. However, the Open Meetings Act now permits electronic meetings of governmental bodies like the Housing Commission, and this evening we're conducting our business in compliance with the state law. This meeting is being broadcast live in our local cable access channel 6. It is also being broadcast on the internet via YouTube Live, and the URL for that is www.youtube.com/user/Village of Wilmette/live. To participate in this meeting, you can join through Microsoft Teams. Visit the Village's website at www.wilmette.com and find the calendar event for the Housing Commission meeting. There is a link for you to join the meeting. Alternatively, you can view the meeting on Channel 6 or on YouTube and call into the meeting, allowing you to listen and speak using your telephone. The telephone number is 872-239-8225. Tonight's meeting code is 130-673-162#. You may also submit your comments through YouTube Live, emails through comdev@wilmette.com. A member of the village staff will read your comment to the Housing Commission. All comments to the Housing Commission will be recorded in the meeting minutes as we typically do. For meeting guests joining by Teams when you are not speaking, please keep your device muted to minimize disruption of the proceedings and your video turned off so that the board members can be seen. And with that, we are called to order. Next item, approval of the minutes from the March 2nd meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
Say motion to approve.
And second, is there a second?
Second.
Roll call to approve the vote on the motion.
Okay. Commissioner Goldstein.
Yes, approved.
Commissioner Williams.
Yes.
Commissioner Morganti.
Yes.
Commissioner Shanahan.
Yes.
And Chair Head.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is a review of the new Housing Commission functions and priorities. Kate, will you?
Yeah, so for this one, we just did a very brief memo included as part of the packet. What we're really asking the commission to talk about tonight is the administration committee had outlined some priorities as far as the responsibilities of the Housing Commission. So we wanted to get your guys' thoughts and input on the items that are listed in the attachment that was provided. If there are certain things that the commission wants to really focus on early on, that's something we can talk about. If there are items that were not identified in this list, we can certainly talk about that and add it to the list. So we're really just looking for your guys' thoughts, comments, questions on what the committee had previously outlined.
Are there any questions, comments from the roles that were outlined in the memo from fellow board members. Kate, does it make any sense to take a couple minutes and just run through on the bullet points and just kind of refresh everybody hearing them at the same time? And if it invokes any thoughts or comments?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. And then John and Lisa, feel free to jump in. You guys have a lot of knowledge on the background of some of this, but obviously a big part, and I think we mentioned it at the last meeting, the big part the commission is going to play is in the housing section of the comprehensive plan that the village is going to be working on. That's something we can get more into depth at another meeting, but we will be looking to the commission to see, if it makes sense to do a little bit more research into housing in the village in order to develop the housing section of the comprehensive plan. John, did you want to add anything? Oh, you're muted.
Yeah, I could give an update as it relates to the comprehensive plan development. We did receive 5 responses to the RFP. Today we met with a group and whittled that down to 3 of the respondents who are going to be asked to come in and not come in, but virtually sit down with the village, including Chair Head, and then the chair of the EEC and the chair of the Plan Commission and village staff to ultimately select the consultant we'll recommend to the village board. We expect the personal service contract to be on the village board's agenda in June. Probably, I'm guessing probably August or September is when the commission will be brought into that sort of discussion. It sort of going to depend on the first couple of meetings we have with the consultant. One of the things that we thought would be a good idea at an upcoming meeting and maybe your next meeting is to do a presentation on the comprehensive plan and the housing plan and basically their relationship. And we were planning on doing that before the consultant would be looking for some input from the Housing Commission. All the consultants did have some form of housing assessment. The 3 that have been asked to come in and talk with the village. So there's some form of housing assessment which has been proposed. We don't know exactly to what extent and whether ultimately the Housing Commission might believe more needs to be done for us to update ultimately our housing plan. But that's sort of where we're at with that. Again, the idea would be an upcoming meeting to have a discussion of the comprehensive plan and the housing plan and how they work together.
Thank you.
And then the second bullet point is referring to SEPA, which I think we also mentioned the last meeting. I think the plan is to have a representative from SEPA at some point join a future meeting of the Housing Commission. That way you guys can get more familiar with what they're doing and then provide feedback on the Optima building and the affordable units in that development. John, anything to add on that?
Yeah, so just really quickly, it would be, we don't know exactly when they're going to pull their building permit, but once they pull their building permit, that's when we would be looking to get the $1.6 million, which SEPA has been identified as the organization that we would work with to, create affordable housing in the village. And so that would probably, if not your next meeting, be your meeting after next, maybe the comprehensive plan and affordable housing, that meeting. And then the meeting after that would be SEPA. And I think that timing would work out where where the money is going to be coming in fairly soon after that, hopefully, and having the Housing Commission provide input to SEPA on, or listening to SEPA on some of their ideas on how the money was going to be spent would probably be really good timing.
Yeah, okay, that's great.
May I ask a question, or I can wait?
Yeah.
So related to that, just to clarify the point we were discussing at our last meeting, the grant will be, once the building permits are pulled, the grant will be made to the Village of Wilmette, and then it will be the responsibility of the Housing Commission, if I understand it correctly, to work with SEPA to set a recommended course program for them and schedule and goals and so forth. Then that will be recommended to the village board, and the grant will be made after that. Is that the
right? Yes. The village will have the money. I think the idea is that but for yes, the Housing Commission is going to be looked for their input. We suspect that, I think many of you have worked with SEPA or know SEPA. We suspect that the Housing Commission is going to think they're a good partner. If for some reason you don't, and you feel there's a better way to utilize that money, absolutely, the village board is going to want to hear that. If the case is that yes, we agree that model is what we want to bring into the village, and SEPA is a good partner, then sort of working with SEPA to figure out the best way to spend that. And for example, SEPA was talking about single family homes from anywhere from 80% median income affordable to 120% median income affordable. They were talking about rental units, they were talking about townhomes, and they were talking about condominiums. If the Housing Commission felt that there should be more single family homes and less townhomes or condominiums, maybe the number of units goes down, but you serve a different population. So I think that's the type of input the Housing Commission is going to be asked to be giving to SEPA. SEPA is going to come, I think, with sort of an idea of how they think the money should be spent. But if the Housing Commission feels that maybe there's a better way to spend it, that's what the village board is going to look for. And in understanding, at this point, we don't have that housing needs assessment. We know that there's needs for everything. I mean, it's sort of hard to miss when you're talking affordable housing. But we know at this point, we don't have something that's telling us our biggest need is A or our biggest need is, so that's understood.
And continuing down the list, there are some items listed that I think it will be an ongoing project. There's a lot of different topics of research that they have outlined. I think that's something the commission, just going down the list, I think that's going to be a long-term ongoing project that we can look at prioritizing certain things over others. Obviously, the conduct a housing needs assessment, that's something that we'll discuss more at the next meeting and how that ties into the comprehensive plan. I know that the Housing Our Own board is anxious to meet with the Housing Commission and learn more about what the commission will be doing. I know they're happy to talk to you at some point about that program and the assistance that they provide throughout the village. So I imagine myself and then one of the board members will do a short presentation at some point in the next few meetings so that you can all learn more about that organization. Some of the other items, monitor the Village Green atrium units and the affordability of those units. That's something, John, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but if that's something we do annually, like we would maybe just provide a sales summary of that and the commission would review that. Is that what?
That's probably the best way is for us to take a look at the sales, and we understand where the formula price would be if the village kept buying those units and act as the reseller of those. So yeah, I think if we're talking about some sort of annual plan, which we are, that we would maybe give information at that time. And if we ever felt that it made sense for us to start buying the units and reselling them at the formula price, we could start doing that, but we haven't seen that yet.
Maybe we can put that, just a little bit of background information about about the building and how it operates to a future meeting, so that we can become aware of that. And
absolutely. Yeah, and there was some information when we did our sort of history of housing presentation, but we could go into more detail.
yeah.
And then the last item listed, submit an annual report to the village board. That's something that I think most commissions do. We would do that, I believe generally at the beginning of the year. So that's something that we can look at doing, next winter, most likely.
Yeah.
And the only other one I would mention, just because thanks to Commissioner Goldstein, a bunch of us listened in on a online discussion about naturally occurring affordable housing today. And we do have one of the items is research methods to preserve existing affordable housing units. And obviously that's of real importance in a community like Wilmette. So that's something, I'm sure stuff is going to come out of the comprehensive plan, probably discussion about that, but that's something that I think is going to ultimately be really important that we figure out if there's a way to tackle that.
And then the only other one I would flag, I know we've talked about it a little bit in the past, and you referenced it today, is the housing needs assessment on behalf of the board. And so that at some not too distant future meeting, we can sort of outline how that might be done, what that might, kind of an outline of what it would look like.
Right, and I think with the as we move along with the comprehensive plan and the consultant, we will know what sort of housing needs assessment we will be getting and whether that's significant enough, or whether the commission might ask the village board to authorize spending money for a more robust housing assessment.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Other items to discuss on the functions and priorities?
Does the idea of really looking at your next two meetings, talking about the comprehensive plan and the affordable housing plan and the housing assessment, is that's all tied in there at your next meeting? Then the meeting after that, inviting SEPA in, is that a is that a good plan? Do the commissioners believe?
Commissioners? Yeah, I think
I
it
think
sounds like
so.
yeah, I think it's an excellent plan.
Yeah, for sure.
If there are no other comments on this item, I would move to public comment. I see that there's some people that are, I don't know who they are, but they're not on the commission, and so I guess they may be interested public. If there are comments or questions. Okay.
And I can confirm there are no comments or questions submitted via YouTube.
Okay. Well, this was a fast meeting, but I think it was a helpful meeting. And I think it helps kind of, reaffirm what the shape of our mission going forward, and outlines kind of what our next couple of meetings will look like. And of course, it's good to see everybody.
Yeah, thank you.
And then I'll just do a quick roll for adjournment.
Okay.
Commissioner Goldstein,
Yes.
Commissioner Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Morganti,
Yes.
Commissioner Shanahan,
Yes.
and Chair Head.
Yes.
I believe
And the notice
Commissioner
that-
Chase did join us.
Commissioner Chase joined us.
Oh, okay.
Sorry I was late, but I am here.
It was a
My apologies.
We had a very quick meeting, so we're adjourning right now.
Yeah, you have a quick meeting when I'm late, so I'll catch up with you, Jeff.
Okay.
Is that it?
All right, so that we have a motion to adjourn then. We've voted to adjourn then.
Yes,
And are we
thank you.
adjourned?
Thanks.
Yes. Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Thank you very much.